Well, hi everyone. Thanks very much for the opportunity. Thanks to John and the committee. That's terrific. We're quite excited that there was demand enough to warrant us going ahead and getting a second edition of the book. It's been out of print for a number of years now, and we were in discussion with the publisher, and he suggested that we would do another edition. Now, looking at the front of the book, obviously it doesn't look different at all. We wanted to maintain Celia Ross's wonderful artworks front and back. What we've done with the book is upgraded many of the photographs throughout the book. We managed to get better quality photographs, which we've put through the species section. We've added the new species Vincentia, and also for predominantly New South Wales folks, we put in an explanation about the spinulosa complex and the converters, where you have separated some of the variants or subspecies and named them species in their own right. Banksias like Cunninghamii and Collina and Penicillata, we've now made mention of that in the book, stating that your state represents them as separate species. Interestingly, that hasn't been adopted through all the herbaria across Australia, but we thought, well, as you recognise them by those names, we would make comment and add that to those sections within the book in the species guide. We've also upgraded some of the data and information throughout the book to make it relevant, and various nurseries that we may have listed before may have closed, and we've updated sources for plants. So it's still a 386-page book with the various same sections as we've illustrated before. I have my lovely wife here with me too, because she's a co-author of this wonderful book, and without her, I'm sure our editing would have been up the creek. So she's given us a great hand in that area. We do have some great news in that we were just notified last week, or a couple of weeks back, by the National Library of Australia that our book was not well judged or awarded, or however you might call it, our Book of the Week for the National Library of Australia for new productions of books through the year. I think there's only still 52 weeks in the year, so it's probably not a bad rating, unless that's changed. So we're thrilled about that. The early sales of the book have been progressing very well, and what I would like to make special comment on is how the Banksia study group has gained credence and numbers from our association with the wonderful Banksia Lovers Facebook site. Dita mentioned that we need more people involved, people to record stuff, to see stuff, and social media through Facebook and the Banksia Lovers site has provided a wonderful platform for this to occur. Things that are being posted, I quickly grab hold of, because some of it I've never witnessed, never seen, and it gives me the opportunity to get that data from those individuals and further study it and look at it. For example, last week a chap posted a Banksia Cunninghamii. The whole plant had gold flowers and one branch had black flowers or black stamens. So how this can occur or why is a bit of a mystery. And we have had an example occur in Western Australia of a Banksias, as on front of the book, which had pink flowers on all but one branch, which had yellow flowers. So there's some genetic thing happening there, and these are types of things that we hope people can investigate or further study. Banksias have been very, very well studied through PhD projects. They're one of the more popular groups for plant investigation and science. The Banksia Lover Group has now just gone over 4,000 members. Obviously, a lot of those, and it's given a platform for people not only to learn how to grow them and prune them and all the basic things that our societies strongly adhere to. It's also moved into art involving Banksias, craft involving Banksias, every facet that genus is employed for. So it's, I've got to thank Carlo Taliano, one of our members of the Banksia Study Group, for the way he's incorporated and shared that with our society and our members. So wonderful, and I hope that that sort of site can be adopted for a lot more genus of plants across Australia, because it's it gets the plants out there. So we're thrilled with that. So basically, that's all I wanted to mention. There's, I would just like to thank also the, I'm tongue-tied. I'd like to thank ANSPA, who had given us a small loan to assist with the production of this second volume or second edition. So thanks to the executive and the people involved in allowing that to happen. So yeah, thanks everyone, and I hope people enjoy the book, and thank you very much again for the opportunity.
Now, Kevin, thanks very much for letting us know about that new edition. Most importantly, how can we get hold of it?
Just give us a call.
I believe John is collecting several boxes of books from Canberra, where we have a small supply. So your members will certainly be able to acquire them from yourself through the branch. People can access them online from us. We have an order form, and that is posted on the Banksia Lovers Facebook site. But I would like members to buy the copies that you have in your branch first, because that's return for the help that we've been awarded with that loan. So help repay the loan. So get in touch with John.
Okay, so John, did you want to say anything about that now, or let us know later?
Well, excuse me. We have purchased 42 copies of the book. They're still down with Kevin's daughter in Canberra. My sister's going to pick them up fairly shortly, and we're going to make them available at a reduced price to our members. They do normally retail, what, Kevin, $69.99 or something?
Yeah, that's correct. $69.95, yes.
Yeah. So we will make them available at a reduced price to our members. We were hoping to sell them at gatherings, but of course with COVID-19, I think that's put the kibosh on that. So what will probably end up happening is I'll get those copies and then let people know how they can purchase the copies from us. But of course, the weight of them is fairly substantial, and of course that means that the postage is going to be expensive. How much are you charging for postage, Kevin?
The general postage for a book around Australia is from about $12 to $18. That's what you're looking at for postage. It just depends how well they're packed and whether they're in expander packs or whether you can buy them in a medium-sized postage box. So,
okay.
But that's an idea. You're looking at about that figure. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I just wanted everyone to know that not to get a surprise when we added that sort of price onto the cost of the book itself. But we will make those available in the near future for members to purchase.
So if you are very, very desperate and need a book urgently, check the Banksia Lovers Facebook page for the order form, but you will have to pay the full price and the postage. And if it's not quite so urgent, wait for John to advise us of the details of how to pick them up more cheaply. So I'd like to thank Kevin for joining us from Western Australia and sharing with us that very exciting new second edition. And I have to say, it is actually a beautifully designed book. It's the information is laid out in a very simple and easy to use format. I think because the number of Banksia species is relatively manageable, it sort of fits quite nicely into a book size, you know, a nice size book. So I certainly enjoy my first edition and looking forward to the second one. So thanks very much, Kevin, for joining us, and look forward to getting hold of the book in due course. Thank you.
Good. Thanks very much, Rhonda. Thanks, everyone.
And thanks to Kathy as well, who sort of
Thank you.
there. Thanks, Kathy. Also a co-author of the book. I'm sure you did more than just the editing.
I might just share my screen with that slideshow we did. For the people that are still here, you might just talk about your farm for a couple of minutes.
As you wish. Yep, that'd be great.
Wow.
For folks that are not aware of our property, we've been involved with
Where we are.
our properties in Mount Barker, which is 50 kilometres shy of getting to Albany if you drive down southeast from Perth to Albany. It's about 4 hours from Perth, and we're 50 kilometres from the coast. A lot of people aren't aware, but if you draw a little circle around Mount Barker and do a 50-kilometre radius, Mount Barker is the centre of the richest number of Banksia species in the world, or in Australia, of course, they're only Australian. So we have 24 endemic species within 50 kilometres of our town. The next richest areas are Ravensthorpe, where there's around 18, and Badgingarra, an hour and a half north of Perth, Badgingarra, Eneabba, where there's about 18 as well. So we picked a good spot to grow the Banksias. We still currently have the world's only complete collection of the species, and apart from that, we have many different coloured forms of some species. Banksias like Plagiocarpa, it surprised everyone that a tropical Banksia is thriving in our cool, temperate area in Mount Barker. We have 3 distinctive coloured forms of Plagiocarpa. We've got probably 4 distinctive coloured forms of Aquilonia, which we originally sourced seeds from near the Walsh's Pyramid in Queensland. So it's a very comprehensive collection of species, and we did run tourism for a great number of years, but we reached the age of 60 and then 65, 70, and then we said, well, let's close the garden now and relax and do a bit of travelling. We're still heavily involved with Banksias, being Kathy and myself are partners in the 4-year running project to establish a new dedicated Banksia garden in ANBG in Canberra, the Canberra Botanic Gardens. Unfortunately, COVID caused the official opening of that garden, which was planned for the end of May, early June. That's been cancelled indefinitely, but they've managed to plant many of the Banksia species in that garden. The garden is going to feature as many of these showy Banksias as possible, and a lot of those are being grown by grafting them onto eastern rootstock. Phil Trickett and Katrina Bate over at Milton in New South, they're doing a lot of experimentation with grafting, and we send them the material, Air Express, and they graft the different ones and are trialling different techniques. Our Banksia on the screen looks a bit odd. It's because we've got so many birds in our garden, and they find Banksia seeds very edible, and the white-tailed black cockatoos come and eat the seeds before the cone matures. So if it matures, the cone's too hard for the birds to readily get the seeds out and they go hungry. So they come and harvest them about a month before I'm able to harvest them. So what we do is put a waxy pie bag over all of the cones. And at this stage, they haven't learnt to pull the bags off. But I guess it's only a matter of time and they'll then get the trick of removing the bags to get the seeds. We don't mind sharing. Obviously, we can't put bags on the very tall ones, and they have some and we have some. There's the Plagiocarpa I mentioned. It grows extremely well here, and I've heard reports that it's doing extremely well right across Australia, even in parts of Tasmania. It's semi-frost resistant as well, which is a big surprise. Beautiful plant. So yeah, our garden now, we still have public access for people that choose to come into our region because we've converted our cafe gallery tea rooms into self-contained accommodation. So if anyone's venturing this way and chooses to stay at our accommodation, I will do guided tours for the house guests, or they can walk the garden themselves. It's a photographing opportunity. Banksia is a bit tricky to photograph because they don't all come in the same week. In fact, we've done stats. 55 Banksias flower in our collection in autumn, 40 in winter, 35 in spring and 20 in summer. So there's Banksias throughout the year for the insects and birds and little honey possums, etc. So it's a fantastic garden, our Banksia, and we've got dead plants, we've got live plants, we've got Banksia mulch, we've got fungi, and it's a great ecosystem in that all the different critters work together.
Well, it sounds like something to look forward to when the borders are open and people are planning their round Australia trip. So thanks for that offer.
Mate,
Yeah,
can I ask a question, please, Kevin?
You certainly
May I
may.
ask a question? With your Banksias in the cones afterwards, should you, especially when you got the smaller, miniature ones, should you cut them off or leave them?
That's a choice. That's a choice for the individuals because some particular Banksias, the fruiting cone is a special feature and can be very attractive. Other people choose to remove the flower as soon as the colour has gone, and what you're then doing is like a pruning, because if you remove the flower head, it's not putting energy into producing seeds, and you'll get more branches and more flowers for the following year. Remember, every Banksia can be pruned, and pruning is very important for shaping many species that may normally grow too tall for your garden. As long as there's healthy leaves on a branch, you can cut back to the healthy leaves and it'll reshoot from those. So tip pruning or pruning back into harder wood as long as there's healthy leaves there for it to shoot from.